We went to jump school together, which that was a fucking clown show, but, I won't spend too much time on that. But God, what a fucking fish out of water experience that was, I know, for most of us.
It was culture shock, dude.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they don't, back then, when you graduate BUD/S, you'd go to Fort Benning, Georgia, to the Army's Airborne jump school for 3 weeks and go through their traditional jump school. They don't do that anymore. And I would say, unfortunately, to me, it is an important element, like both from tradition standpoint and just understanding the Army mentality a little bit, because you're going to work with them.
Yep.
I do look back on that, and it sucked at the time, but was a good experience. It's not the most efficient or economical one, but at any rate, so we go through Fort Benning together, and then I went to SEAL Team 3, and you went to SEAL Team 5, and you were there for a number of years. Tell me two things. We'll start off with your first day at Team 5, which I know is a good story, but also just kind of encompassing your time there and what impact that had on you.
Yeah, dude, I loved it. So I had a little bit of a heads up of the personality of 5. When I was in the fleet, my neighbor in my apartment complex was a sniper at 5, so he kind of gave me the lowdown of the personalities and this and that. And I don't know if you remember, but running to Bud's Chow, there was something special behind that chain link fence at 5. It just got a little more weird, and the fence was shaking a little more. Like, it was almost like, what, are there inmates behind that?
A fucking zoo.
5's a little wild. So I kind of, my first instinct, and I don't really kick myself for it, but my first instinct was 3. Mm-hmm. Because at that time, who's more likely to get into the shit? Well, they go to the Middle East. So, damn, there you go. But my neighbor had kind of put some things in my head about 5, and I'm like, I don't know, the pirate squad, they're kind of nasty. Like, I don't know what's going on over there. The curiosity factor got the best of me. So I ended up going to 5, and as you know, you get done with Airborne school, and you show up as a little dapper new guy in your little uniform with your manila envelope, and everything's cool, and it's almost like going to BUD/S. It's this whole new world.
So it's like a fucking lamb walking into a goddamn lion's den.
It's 100% what it is. Like you kind of know it too, because you've already had your ass handed to you in BUD/S, but you kind of know that's. As tough as BUD/S is, this is now like where you're going to be. Yeah, this is the real world, man. So you show up excited, nervous, and so I show up, and all the platoons form up. But in the back of the formation was a forklift, and there's a dude naked, hanging.
A recurring theme.
Nudity is Mike and I continue will reoccur a lot. There's a lot of nudity, maybe even some now, but that'll be on YouTube.
You can't see under the desk.
Yeah, right. Good. So this dude is forklifts up, dude's hanging down, upside down. He's beehived in duct tape in certain areas. And then there's a sign hanging off of him that says, "Doesn't want to drink with my buddies." So I'm like, oh shit. And now I'm super nervous. And no one's paying attention to this poor dude. To this day, I still don't know who that was. I didn't want to know. And so I'm in, the Master at Arms formation or whatever is kind of at the end where everyone's kind of there. You don't have a purpose quite yet. And I just keep looking over my shoulder like, is this dude okay? Like his face is getting red. Like no one gives a shit. So then they do the typical, hey, I think we got a new guy here. Where are you at? And I just kind of like, I don't know what to do. I raise my hand like I'm in class or something. And then like, come on up. So I go up to the formation, and of course the CO is super nice. Like, hey, how you doing? And whatever, everything's cool. Why don't you just tell us where you're from? Turn around and tell everybody where you're from. And it's kind of like the typical stereotype, As soon as you speak, everyone yells, "Shut the fuck up!" And you're just like, holy shit. There was no spoiler alert. Like, I didn't see the movie before this experience. When you and I were in, there was, no info. And I had
behind the curtain.
No heads up on this shit. So, of course, you just feel like a total fucking retard. So formation's over, and they're like, hey, go to the Master at Arms shack and get a locker. So I go into this locker room area, and there's another naked dude duct taped to a bench. And there's 2 dudes beating him with swim fins. And I'm just like, oh, shit. So I find my locker number, and I'm nervously throwing my shit in the locker. So as they're beating this dude with swim fins, this guy has a big padlock that comes off the Connex box. And he takes his cock and balls, puts the padlock around it,
Yeah.
and he goes, "Give me your wife's cell phone number. I'll call it with the combination." And dude, it was at that point I had half a foot out the door, dude. I ran out of the locker room, and I went to the other side of the building, and I just thought, what the fuck did I just get into? I guess it's like your first day in prison. You know what I mean? I was
fucking
just...
new meat, fucking whitefish. Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
I was like, holy shit. Shit got real, man. So... You know the deal. You've been through the same stuff, so it was a very memorable first day.
Yeah, welcome to the club, huh? God. You know, I mean, to me, for all those listening that are, you know, accountants or, you know, they do normal shit. You know, one of the things that makes you know, special operations and obviously specifically the SEAL teams kind of what they are is honestly shit like that. You know, and we were talking about a little bit earlier about, you know, the emasculation and pussification of our society and just how weak we've become between political correctness and technology and not being held accountable for your fucking mouth. Like, to me, like if I had to pinpoint, you know, one thing that you know, kind of really encompasses the shitstorm that our country has been turning into over the last few decades, is that you know, there's a lot of other factors, but like when it really boils down to it, it's like people aren't being held accountable. You know, it's like, well, I'm either a victim or I can point the finger or I can make an excuse and it's okay and I get coddled. And one of the things that I just fucking love about not just the military, obviously, I mean, the military broad spectrum is that way, but especially special operations because it's at a level where, you know, the most minute fuck up, you know, can be your or several people's lives, you know, and so the tolerance for bullshit and excuses and a lack of accountability is fucking zero, you know, and having those experiences, you know, we laugh about seeing that type, you know, all of those things are done for a reason, is that if you're not towing the fucking company line and doing what and this isn't even going above and beyond. This is the bare minimum. Now, granted, the bare minimum is fucking high, but if you're not achieving the bare minimum, like, you're going to pay the fucking man. And you know, I see it. One of the things I was actually just talking with it earlier today. You know, with my kids about short stroking physical activity during like a CrossFit workout, is that one of them, you know, ran just a couple of feet over the grass, like instead of going around a cone, like cheated basically, you know, and the response is, I'm not going to, as a coach, is like, well, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to call them out. I don't want to embarrass them. Right. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I wish that I had been the coach at that time. Cause I'll tell you right now, I'd been like, you motherfucker, go stand in the corner, sucking your thumb, and you're going to watch the entire group. And I'm going to say, hey, everybody thank her for, we're all going to do it again. I'm going to make the whole class do it again while they stand there and watch. I mean, Full Metal Jacket style.
Yeah,
right?
eat your jelly donut.
Yeah, you can stand there and you can watch everybody else pay for your fucking mistake. Like, how many times do you think they're going to do that again? Never. Yeah. You know, and that doesn't exist in our society, you know, and, you know, for people, well, it's not how the real world works. Motherfucker, I'll tell you right now, it should. Yeah. Like, it honestly should, because that fixes problems. People don't have attitudes. You know, they don't fuck up. When they do fuck up, they're held accountable for it, and they remember it. And that shit doesn't happen again when you hold people accountable, you know, and holding them accountable, obviously there's a lot of different ways to do it. You know, that's for another episode. We'll bring Dr. Jordan Peterson on here and get the psychoanalysis about it. But to me, like, that, you know, militaries have been using that style of, you know, of repercussion training for thousands of years, you know, and in a society now where we don't do that, like, you see where that manifests into a bunch of other fucking problems where, you know, people just, they're not held accountable, and it's a big fucking problem. So I wish that our society was a little more flexible on reprimanding each other and, you know, stuff like that. Like, again, it's funny to hear about it and you're like, holy shit, looking around. Yeah. But think about the mentality you had showing up. You're like, dude, I'm not fucking up while I'm here. Like,
well, you realize your actions affect other people. When other people pay the price for your mistake, which we didn't maybe know at the time, but when you go to war and you fuck up, like you said, people get hurt or killed. Yeah. So at that smaller level, you realize when you fuck up, other people are affected by it. And so that's what that teaches. And like you said, you do that once and you'll never do it again because there's an embarrassment factor with it. Like, oh shit, I just caused the whole class or the whole platoon or whoever to go through some misery because of my mistake. Yeah. So now you're extra on guard to not make that mistake again, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there needs to be way more of that. So if you're the CEO of a company listening to this, run that shit up the flagpole and make it fucking happen.
Or you can hire me and Mike as your HR dudes, and we'll square them away.
Fucking HR dudes, I love it. That'll be on the business card. HR dude.
Call us, we'll fuck you up.
Tighten your shit up. One paddling at a time. Christ. All right, so you spent several years there. You did you do one deployment, two deployments?
I did one deployment. Yeah, we did the ARC platoon.
What? Yeah, I mean, I'll save the lingo and the terminology. Basically, back then, my first platoon and Clark's first platoon were very similar in that way, in that we're forward based on ships. Mm-hmm. Which for me, having not come from the fleet, like that gave me a pretty good, healthy insight into the fleet Navy and made me further appreciate my my willingness to see Bud's training all the way through fruition. So you got out in 2001, right?
Yep.
And so is there anything that you can share from that deployment that or that experience at Team 5, other than kind of the textbook principles that we were talking about in terms of being surrounded by, the type of guys you want to emulate and things of that nature. But what kind of stands out from you from being at SEAL Team 5 for a full cycle deployment and for several years?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, obviously the workup is the hard part of that cycle that we go through. I really enjoyed that. The deployment was good. At least I had one deployment in the fleet under my belt, so it wasn't culture shock to me. Yeah. So I had been overseas. I had been in some places. I appreciated the lifestyle adjustment. Obviously, a deployment in the fleet compared to we stayed at a pretty nice joint in Thailand on the beach, little bungalows, and we would have our muster at noon with a beer in the pool, as opposed to covered,
as opposed to chipping fucking paint off the wall and
covered in gray paint at 7 a.m. and so it really was that contrast of the lifestyles and stuff. And I did enjoy being on a ship as a team guy. It's a much different experience. Yeah. Then you got that trident on your flight suit. You can kind of walk where you want, as opposed to little Clarky the deck seaman covered in gray. Hey, get out of here! Cabin boy. Shoot away. And then we hit some different spots than I had been to before, so I enjoyed that. Yeah. So it was good. It was good. We bounced around quite a bit. We did a couple things that were fun and interesting. I mean, considering the time frame it was pre 9/11, so not a lot going on, but we were busy. It was active. Yeah. So I appreciate it. I loved it, man. It was good, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. I mean, that my first deployment pre 9/11 too, and similarly, being on a ship, I had similar sentiments. But I'm curious. So once you actually got out and were making the transition out into the civilian world, I mean, that's when you moved to Thailand, for a little while. I mean, Christ, I got to hear about that. Like, I mean, for those listening, Thailand, and especially for the Navy, but even in some other aspects of the military, like Thailand is like the Las Vegas of the world for the military, or for the Navy at least, is that. Like, it's just crazy shit that happens there, and so, to me, anybody, whether it's you or Babs or whoever, it's like, I moved to Thailand. I'm like, this fucking dirty bastard.
That's right.
Like, so naturally I got to hear, like, what drove you, other than maybe the obvious, to move to Thailand? Like, tell me, what the fuck was that all about?
Yeah, dude, Thailand's kind of the Wild West. So basically, after my deployment with 5, divorce initiated. Which is not uncommon in the military. Teams are no exception. Yeah. And that really was the toughest time to this day in my life. Especially the divorce was just brutal. We had 2 kids. This was the same girl I'd been with for 9 years from college. And so, I mean, finances ruined. Things were really tough. That started some static with me and my upper chain of command at the team, and that's ultimately why I got out. So for me, Thailand was just kind of a getaway from all that. I just wanted to go over there for a little bit. I did a little bit more of the hippie route. I was more of a beach bum. I still had fun with the nightlife and, you know, the
What do you mean?
the shiny lights, you know, you know, the establishments that are there. But I found some peace in the nature there. One, the Thai culture is awesome. They're super mellow people. You know, they're just these little peaceful Buddhist people. They call it the land of smiles. They're just happy, dude. And so I was coming from, I had a divorce in my personal life. I had somewhat of a divorce from Team 5. You know, I was battling my command master chief at the time. So for me, it was just man, I just want to be a bum on a beach, dude.
Yeah.
I had a little ocean kayak. I'd paddle out and just kind of cruise up the shoreline. So it was...
Where were you at in Thailand?
A little place called Jomtien, which is just outside of Pattaya, which is nuts. So it was kind of like being in the suburb just outside of Vegas. I could dip into the craziness and then I could fade away to the beach life.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to get around. You can hop on a boat or an airplane and be on some island for a few days and stuff. So it was super cool. Enjoyed the people. Not a fan of the food so much.
No shit. I love Thai food.
Thai food's good, man, but never trust a fart in Thailand, man. You know what I mean? It's just, I always had that that stomach issue over there. So, but yeah, man, it was just, I love that island lifestyle, man. So it was cool. I got out of the teams about 5 months before 9/11.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I wasn't issued a crystal ball.
Yeah.
I saw 9/11 go down when I was in Thailand, and I'm like, God, are you kidding me, man? I mean, it was just so horrible to be away from your country when that happens. It was like, I got to get back somehow. I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah. I was still pretty bitter with my experience with my command master chief, so I ended up coming back home. And talking to some buddies of mine, they introduced me to the concept of 19th Group, a Reserve Special Forces unit. They have 19th Group and 20th Group. So,
and that's out of Watkins, Colorado.
Watkins, Colorado, just outside of Denver, and that's close to the Colorado Springs. At that time, the teams didn't really have an active reserve component. They had like OST-1, basically. I guess you build pallets for platoons or something. It wasn't anything
logistics assholes.
Yeah, it was like, no, that's okay. So I was kind of looking at easing back into it. Obviously, I wanted to be a part of the cause because 9/11 just sucked for everybody.
Yeah.